إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على دين كله ولو كره الكافرون. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وسارعوا إلى مغفرة من ربكم وجنة عرضها السماوات والأرض أعدت للمتقين الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين. وبعد. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, we thank the Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal for all the favors He has bestowed upon us. We worship Him, we adore Him, we love Him, and we fear His punishment. Subhanahu wa ta'ala amma yasifun. We ask Him indeed to give us guidance in this world and to save us from the torment of the hellfire and that of the grave. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in a hadith, Bu'ithtu li'utimma makarimul akhlaq, or kama qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, I have been sent to perfect good character. And he told us in a hadith, خالق الناس بخلق حسن. Treat people with good character. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself was the best of example in dealing with people. And I would like to share with you today a characteristic that we all have that we should get rid of, actually. Because it's not a good characteristic, it's not a good trait. And that is the trait of anger. Many of us, we do a lot of actions when we are angry. And we say a lot of words, especially to the ones that are near and dear to us when we are angry. There is a statement, familiarity breeds contempt. That's a statement of the West, the Western philosophy. Familiarity breeds contempt. We don't hope that that is what happens. We hope that when we are familiar with each other, we would love each other because of Islam. And for the mistake that we will be making, we correct each other instead of hating each other and having contempt for each other. So the Quran tells us, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ عَرُّضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Hasten to a forgiveness from your Lord, and hasten to a heaven. The width of it is the extent of the heavens and the earth, prepared for the muttaqun, for the people of piety, the people with taqwa, the people who fear Allah Azza wa Jal. They fear His punishment and they hope for His reward. And this is what we are striving to achieve, that quality of taqwa. Ramadan finished a couple months ago, and one of the purposes of fasting in the month of Ramadan, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you can achieve this quality of taqwa. And we have just had Hajj been completed. Again, those people who have made Hajj, they will return home, insha'Allah, like the day their mother gave them birth, sinless. And we would have had our day of Eid, and we would have asked Allah Azza wa Jal to make us of those people who are pious, and we would have We would have felt good when we would have sacrificed our animals for Allah Azza wa Jal and partake of eating of it and distributing to other people. All these things would raise the level of taqwa in us if we do them for Allah Azza wa Jal and we do them properly. So the Quran is telling us, hasten to this heaven, hasten to this forgiveness of Allah Azza wa Jal. And this heaven has been prepared for the muttaqun, the people with taqwa. And then he describes those people with taqwa, alladhina yunfikun, those people who spend their money in the path of Allah, those people who spend their money for themselves and their wives and their children in what is halal, alladhina yunfikuna fis sarra, when times are at ease, they spend their money in the path of Allah, wad darra, and when times are harsh, in adverse situations, they spend their money in the path of Allah, and they must spend as well to maintain themselves and their families. Alladhina yunfikuna fis sarra'i wad darra. Then he tells us of this quality of the muttaqun, wal kadhimin al ghayz. Wal kadhimin al ghayz. Kadhim. Kadhim means one who suppresses something, keeps it down. And the word ghayz means anger. Those people who suppress their anger, they control their anger. And in a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, an Abi Hurairata radiyallahu an, anna rajulan qala lin nabiyyi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, awsini, that a man said to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, give me some advice. Awsini, give me some advice. Qala la taghdab. The Prophet ﷺ simply told him, do not become angry. فَرَدَّ ذَلِكَ مِرَارًا قَالَ لَا تَغْضَبْ. And the Rasul ﷺ kept on saying it over and over, لَا تَغْضَبْ, do not get angry. And the commentators of this hadith, they say that what is intended in the hadith is that you will get angry. Anger will come to you, things will be done. People will say things that will make you angry. Especially our wives and our husbands, our children, the ones that are close. Because, you see, when people are not living with each other and we have some sort of bad habit, we ignore it. Because if you're with your friend, even for 2-3 hours, and he has a little bad habit, he goes at the end of the day, he goes home. And you go your way. But when you go home and you have to spend the night, every single night at home, or even work, and you have to sit with your person at the side of you, your co-worker, for 7 and 8 hours a day, and they have bad habits that irritate you, you tend to become angry. You become irritated and then you become angry. So things will happen with nobody, and we're not talking about what is halal and haram here. We are simply talking about habits that people may have that can irritate you and make you angry. Right? You ever hear somebody keep on saying one line of a song over and over and singing it over and over and over? Let them sing that for in your head for 2-3 hours and you'll see what will happen. You will not be able to handle it. It irritates you and anger you after a while. From irritation, it becomes anger. So what do we do in a situation like that? You have to talk to the person and say, you know, that is irritating me in a nice way. And even if it happens days after day, what is going to happen? So what happens in your home when your wife does something that is irritating and she keeps on doing it, not to irritate you, but it's a habit, or the husband does it, or the child. You see, this is where al-kadhimin al-ghayz comes in. Those people who suppress their anger. So the hadith is telling us, you will get angry, but do not let it come out and overpower you and overcome you. You control it. If you take the hadith and link it up to the Quranic ayah, which is what we are supposed to do, wal kadhimin al-ghayz, those people who suppress their anger and control their anger, they are the ones who are the muttaqun, not the people who would keep on saying bad things at their wives and their husbands, or their co-worker, or the people who are working under them, or their children, insulting all the time in an angry way. Well, it shouldn't be insulting in any case. So we need to control our anger. And many times people would divorce their wife when they are angry. You see, when you're angry, you are not in charge of the situation. In psychology, they will tell you when you are angry, you are not in charge of the situation. You're not in charge of yourself. Who's in charge of you? The thing that made you angry. That is what in charge of you. You're not in control of yourself. You have to get in control of yourself. A Muslim must always try to be in control of himself at all times. So if there's anger coming, he must control that anger. The same thing goes for love, what we call love. The boy loves the girl so much, he will go against his parents, he will go against Islam. Subhanallah, sometimes it happens. One time a girl told me, who wanted to get married to a non-Muslim, and I'm asking her, well, are you, prepared to face the fire of hell for this boy? And she tells me, yes, anything. La ilaha illallah, Muslim girl. Well, eventually with that story, the boy became Muslim and they got married, and then they divorced after a while. So she was prepared at that time, I hope she made her tawbah, she was prepared at that time to face the fire of hell for a non-Muslim boy whom she loves. Right? So who's in charge? You see, when you're all these emotions, we will get those emotions. We are human beings. So we will love, and we will feel sad, we will feel depressed, we will feel frustrated, and we are going to get angry. And all these emotions have to be controlled, because you cannot let your depression get the better of you. People commit suicide sometimes when they are depressed. And with respect to frustration, we keep on trying to do something that is good, and we keep on, as they say, bouncing a wall. Well, Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا نُوحًا إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ فَلَبِثَ فِيهِمْ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ إِلَىٰ خَمْسِينَ عَامًا. We sent Noah to his people, Noah, we sent him to his people, and he stayed with them 1,000 years except 50. So that's 950 years, giving them da'wah. And only a handful of people followed him. Frustration. We get frustrated when we try once or twice with a brother and a sister to pray, to give up their bad habit, their smoking, their weed and whatnot, gambling. And we get frustrated after 2-3 attempts. Here it is, Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, 950 years among his people. We have to control those emotions. Ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us control of ourselves, so that we will not let these emotions drive us, but we will control it. You see, we have natural instincts. If we were to follow our natural instincts, we will be corrupted. وَلَوْ اتَّبَعَ الْحَقُّ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ لَفَسَدَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ وَمَنْ فِيهِنْ. If truth were to follow their emotions, their desires, everything and everyone in the heavens and the earth will be corrupt and spoiled. And anger is one of those emotions that we have to control. وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ. Those people who control their anger. And that hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he kept on telling him, do not become angry, do not let your anger come out. And they will tell you in the books of fiqh that the hakim, the person, the judge who is there, he must not give a ruling when he's angry. He should not give a ruling when he's angry, because his anger might affect the justice between this one and that one. So it's so very strong. And we have to be very careful how we treat each other, especially when we are angry. So the Quranic ayah is telling us, وَالْقَاضِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ, and those people who pardon the people, وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ, and Allah loves those people who are doers of good. And in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, لَيْسَ الشَّدِيدُ بِسُرْعَةٍ. We call, a fellow who is strong, the shadid. The strong person is not one who would quickly throw someone else on the ground. He's stronger, so if he is wrestling, he will throw the other person on the ground. That's not a strong person. إِنَّمَا الشَّدِيدُ الَّذِي يَمْلِكُ نَفْسَهُ إِنَّ الْغَضَبِ. The shadid, the strong person, is he who controls himself when he's angry. That is the shadid. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to become angry when people broke the laws of Islam, but he did never let his anger overcome him. And he would look as though he was angry when he was warning them about the fire of hell. Right? They'll tell you, ihmarrat aynahu, his eyes would become red, right? And his voice would raise, and his anger would be evident, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he was warning them about the fire of hell, which is a reality, and he did not want any of his nation to be there in the fire of hell. And then in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we are told that two men were arguing in the presence of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and one of them became so angry until it looked as though his nose was about to explode because of anger. You know, some people, when they get angry, their face swell up and it becomes red, and your noses as well become swollen and red. Well, this one, his anger was so much, it looked as though his nose was going to erupt. So the Prophet ﷺ said, I know a statement that if this angry person were to say it, his anger would go away. And that statement is, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika minash shaitanir rajim. We all know it. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika minash shaitanir rajim. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from Satan the accursed. And we all know it. So when we are becoming angry, this is something that we must say. We do not want to do things when we are angry. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also advises that if any one of you is angry and he's standing, then let him sit, right? Because that will make his anger go away. And if not, let him lie down. So all these things are there from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how we must control our anger. And my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, people do a lot of things because of anger. We must be very careful. Sometimes some people would transgress on ourselves. Someone would transgress on somebody else, and because of that transgression, the victim will become angry, and then he would do something. He might go and commit a crime or a sin that was worse than what what made him angry in the first place. So be very careful. Be very careful of your anger. Control it. Recite some Quran when you are becoming angry. Say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, so that we will not be harming anybody because of our anger, and most of all, we will not be harming ourselves. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us of those people who would suppress their anger, al-qadhimin al-ghayr. He'll make us of those people who will spend in the way of Allah Azza wa Jal at times of ease and in times of hardship. We ask Him to make us of those people who will forgive people easily and pardon people so that we can earn His pardon. And we ask Him to make us of those people who are pious. Ameen. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum wa lisa'iril muslimina min kulli dhanb fastaghfiruhu innahu huwal ghafurur rahim.
طلع البدر علينا من ثني